There are places where the world goes quiet. Not peaceful quiet. Not calm quiet. A quiet so complete it feels like the earth itself has stopped listening. This story happens in one of those places. Not in a war zone. Not in a disaster movie. Not in a distant century. It happens on a modern highway. In a modern car. To a modern family. And it proves a brutal truth. You don't need monsters to die in the wilderness. You only need one wrong decision. The day everything was normal. February 2006. The Pacific Northwest. James Kin was not an adventurer. He was not reckless. He was not unprepared. He was a tech journalist. A writer. A husband. A father. 35 years old. Respected. Intelligent. Methodical. He worked for CNET, reviewing technology, analyzing systems, explaining the future. A man whose life revolved around logic. That's why what happened next still unsettles people. Because logic failed him. James and his wife, Katie, planned a winter road trip. Not extreme. Not dangerous. Just a family getaway. James, Katie, and their 2 daughters, 4 years old and 7 months old. They rented a car, packed supplies, checked maps. The destination, the Oregon coast. Snow was expected in the mountains, but nothing unusual. Thousands of people drive those roads every winter. Most of them come back. On February 24, 2006, James was driving east on Interstate 5. Traffic was heavy. Roads were slow. Like many drivers, he made a decision. He exited the highway. The GPS suggested a shortcut. A forest road. A smaller route that promised to reconnect them with the main highway farther ahead. On the screen, it looked reasonable. In reality, it was a mistake. The road led into the Rogue River, Siskiyou National Forest. Higher elevation. Less traffic. No maintenance. Snow began falling harder. Then thicker. Then relentlessly. At first, the car handled it. Then the road narrowed. Then the snow deepened. Eventually, the tires spun. The car slid. And finally, it stopped. They were stuck. At this moment, the story could have ended differently. They could have stayed in the car and been rescued. They could have turned around earlier. They could have waited. But panic is subtle. It doesn't scream. It whispers. The family waited. Hours passed. Night fell. The temperature dropped. Snow continued piling up. No cell service. No passing cars. Just trees. Snow. Silence. James did what many people would do. He tried to fix the problem. He dug snow. He attempted to push the car. He checked the road. Nothing worked. They were stranded. But they were alive. For now. Inside the car, they rationed food. They turned the engine on briefly for heat, then off to conserve fuel. They wrapped the children in blankets. Katie stayed calm. James stayed focused. They believed help would come. Because help usually does. The next morning arrived quietly. Snow covered the car almost completely. No tracks. No signs of civilization. James realized something critical. No one knew where they were. No one knew they had taken this road. And no one would find them by accident. James made a choice. He would leave the car. He would walk. He believed he could find help. The map showed a town nearby. In reality, that town was miles away. Through dense forest. Through deep snow. In freezing temperatures. But James didn't know that. And once he stepped away from the car, everything changed. James bundled up. Minimal supplies. No snowshoes. No GPS signal. No clear landmarks. Just trees. And snow. And white in every direction. He told Katie he would be back. He kissed his daughters. And he walked into the storm. Within minutes, visibility disappeared. Snow erased distance. Sound vanished. The forest closed in. James walked for hours. Snow reached his knees, then his thighs. Each step took effort. Each breath burned. He pressed on, because turning back felt like failure. Because he believed help was just ahead. Because humans are wired to keep moving, even when they shouldn't. The search begins. Back in California, James failed to show up for work. Friends grew concerned, then worried, then alarmed. Authorities were notified. Search teams mobilized. The story hit the news. A missing family, 2 children, winter conditions. The stakes were immediate. Search helicopters scanned the region. Ground teams moved through the forest. The snow worked against them, covering tracks, hiding evidence, erasing signs of life. Days passed. Katie stayed with the children. She rationed food. She melted snow for water. She kept them warm. She sang to them. She waited. She believed James would return. He didn't. Somewhere in the forest, James was losing strength. Exhaustion set in. Hypothermia crept in. Decision-making degraded. He left the road, then rejoined it, then lost it again. The forest became a maze. Snow erased his own footprints behind him. He was now lost. Truly lost. At some point, James realized the truth. He wasn't getting out. Not today. Not alone. James made one last effort. He pushed himself farther, then farther still, until his body stopped cooperating. He collapsed. Snow fell on him. The forest closed around him, and time kept moving. On March 4th, 2006, 9 days after the family disappeared, searchers found the car. Buried. Silent. Frozen in place. Inside, they found Katie and the children. Alive. Weak. But alive. They had survived for 11 days. The world exhaled. But one person was still missing. James. Search efforts intensified. Now the race was different. Now it was against time. Against cold. Against reality. Search teams expanded outward. They followed possible paths. They combed the forest. Days turned into weeks. Hope thinned. On March 5th, 2006, James Kim's body was found. Approximately 2 miles from the car. He had died from hypothermia. Alone. Exhausted. Trying to save his family. The story devastated the public. Not because it was dramatic, but because it was familiar. A wrong turn. A GPS suggestion. A decision made under stress. Nothing extraordinary. And that's what made it terrifying. Experts analyzed the case. The conclusions were harsh. Staying with the vehicle would have increased survival odds. Walking in deep snow without equipment is often fatal. GPS shortcuts can be deadly in winter. Panic changes judgment. James was not stupid. He was human. Why this story haunts? Because this could happen to anyone. A family vacation. A road trip. A shortcut. No villains. No crimes. Just nature. And time. James Kim didn't die because he lacked courage. He died because courage, in the wrong moment, becomes danger. The wilderness does not reward effort. It does not respond to hope. It does not care about intentions. Katie survived. Their daughters survived. But the cost was permanent. A husband lost. A father gone. A reminder carved into snow and silence. This was not a failure of technology. It was not a failure of intelligence. It was a failure of assumption. That the world will always give you another chance. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes, the rescue comes too late. And the only thing left is the lesson. This was the story of James Kim. A man who walked into the snow and never came back.